connecting to chat. I haven't used Streamlabs in a long time. Okay, let's see if Streamlabs is working. I haven't used Streamlabs or YouTube in a while. And well, I just decided to do a story time slash thank you slash current events. For those of you who don't know, I'm holding these to see if I can get a Snapchat, not a Snapchat, but a Snap thumbnail. But this is about the recent news that Caroll Spinney, who did the voices of Big Bird and Oscar the Grouch for Sesame Street, has passed away. Let's see. He passed away at 85 years old. He was having health problems. And even though he could no longer physically do what it took to handle the Big Bird costume, he still did the voices. And still did the voice and the development of the characters up until, well, the day that he died. They recently just did the 50th anniversary of Sesame Street, and he was one of the founding members with him and Jim Henson, the creators of Sesame Street. And what was incredible was that Jim Henson met Caroll Spinney after he made a horrible puppeteering performance because his ambitions were too high. And Jim Henson saw potential, took him aside, explained what he wanted to do, and why he wanted to do it, and thus Sesame Street was born. So that's just a little backstory of it. He's been doing it for over 50 years, like I said. It's one of the most advanced puppets that we have to date. And it's just been a staple in millions of homes across the world now. What's interesting is, yeah, I know a lot about Sesame Street. I'm a big Sesame Street fan, so if this seems a little fanatical, well, that's okay. But basically, it is in over 150 countries, and it is in several different languages. Some countries have their own puppets. Sesame Street is also working on pioneering different things, like discussing about parents who are incarcerated, or they have a Muppet with autism, they have a Muppet who is HIV positive. There's just a multitude of different things that Sesame Street does. They worked with military families to do a special segment on military families who are deployed and how to deal with those feelings. So it's always been a very special show to my heart. I don't see anybody really typing. I see goes from 1 to 3. I don't know, but that's fine. And it's just been something really special that I've seen develop over the years. Some people have seen that. Hold on. Excuse me. Oh. In some countries, it is allowed girls or people who are impoverished to have just a baseline of education. That was one of the main things about it being public. They wanted everyone to have this. And even though HBO bought the rights to Sesame Street, I believe last year, it is still going strong on public television. So that being said, how has Sesame Street, why do I feel so strongly and want to thank Caroll Spinney, why this has just been sad for me. I mean, it's sad for millions of people, but growing up, I didn't have the ability to go run and play and was kind of trapped in my own body. So I basically would be, I'd watch TV. And because of the times, I didn't have cable all the time. And no matter where I would go, Sesame Street was available, whether it was a house with cable, whether it was a house without cable, whether it was the hospital, whether it was any place really that had a TV, had the public channels on it. So I was able to watch it, even if it wasn't in color, even if it was on a big TV, a little TV. Even when I was in the hospital, when I had leg braces and back braces and body casts and all sorts of things, these were people that came 5 days a week through the television and were happy to see you. Always happy, always said welcome. I do like the greetings that they give you. It's very special. It's always welcoming and inviting. It's one of the few shows that did show people with disabilities. And when I was young, I'm sure about 2 maybe, or before 2, I had this doll. This is Ernie. And of course this is Bert. I loved Ernie because he was just this optimism in a world that was so full of doubt. He was the optimist. He was the one that always saw good in everyone. He didn't see the bad. He saw the fun, the beauty in everything. That's why I think I loved Ernie. And so everywhere I would go, Ernie would come with me. And he's old. That's why, like I said, he's not the cleanest guy. He's not, he has scuff marks and, he's a worn doll because he has gone with me everywhere. Especially anytime I would go to the hospital. I would be scared and they would say, well, look, we'll do the procedure to Ernie and you'll see that it's not so scary. So Ernie has had little body casts, IVs, he's had spinal taps, he's had eye patches, he's had the canalis for oxygen, he's been put under, he has pretty much been through the ringer. He's got excellent medical care for a Muppet. Um, and it didn't matter if I was in intensive care or just still in the recovery room. When the procedure was over, they would put him right next to me so that when I would wake up, I would see a smiling face that was happy to see me. And I've taken him on every medical journey that I've been through, even this last one. And this last one, someone had given me Bert. And Bert's basically the same size, shape, newer version. So he's about a few years old. But they gave me Bert because, unlike Ernie, Bert was the decision maker. He was the one that had to think logically. And even though he was optimistic on a lot of things, he made decisions. He was the more grown up. And because this back surgery, I had to make all the decisions myself pretty much about what I wanted to do medically, whether I wanted to go through the operation, whether I didn't, whether I would accept the consequences of being on a ventilator, if I didn't have the surgery, or I would be the one signing paperwork. I would be the one, in discussion with doctors and everything. And so, like I said, you can't have Bert without Ernie as an adult. I see the yin and yang of it. And like I said, Ernie and Bert and all the other characters are just a real big part of my development growing up. And to see that Caroll Spinney, the founder, pretty much, who embodied Big Bird, who was supposed to embody the childlike mind. He was very inquisitive. He was very curious. And he dealt with emotions like a child. And, kids don't often see an appropriate emotional representation of themselves. Thanks, Anthony. And so it was really nice to see that. So when I saw the news, I don't often cry at celebrity passing away, but it kind of felt like, I lost a friend, even though, how silly it does that sound, but, it feels like you lost a part of your childhood, you lost a part of your innocence a little bit, and knowing that the next generation, even though they'll probably still have Big Bird, they just won't have that gentle soul guiding Big Bird like before. And the show has changed so much over the years. They just finished their 50-year mark, but some of the same hallmarks still apply. When the show starts, someone greets you, "Hey, welcome," or "I haven't seen you. I'm glad you came today." It's just a really nice program that I hope, if kids don't have that one, that they have someone that welcomes them every day to a new day. I said, and it's nice. So that was my little story time about Sesame Street. Like I said, it is in multiple countries. It is providing education for a lot of poor countries that not every child can go to school. Some countries don't believe girls should go to school. I was reading one article about a father in Sudan who girls did not go to school in Sudan, and they would listen to Sesame Street on the radio, and his daughters had the ideas of becoming teachers and doctors, and he saw his daughters differently for the first time. For a program that teaches just fundamentals, it's much more than just ABCs and 1, 2, 3s. It's just so much more than felt and happy little faces, but I just wanted to share that and hope that everyone is doing well. Have a great day.